but it is pretty awe-inspiring to be cruising through the jungle with somebody who has this much knowledge and is so completely at ease in what is potentially a very hostile environment. And what Joe's done here is just chop down a kind of a palm frond looking thing, and then he's cut that in half into 2 bits, put one on top of the other, and he's just weaving it all together.
Put your load in here.
You put your load in there, yep.
And tie it up right here.
And you tie it up right there. It's like a...
You put it on your wires and you go right here.
Ah, okay. And what sort of things do you carry in those? Babies or... And what do you call that?
I call it local backpack.
Backpack?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds suspiciously like oh, I don't know, a backpack actually. Essentially out of a larger version of this is just the tip of it. Just one single palm frond. And he's made a backpack out of it. And that goes on your back like so. And you fix some straps across and all of that, and across here as well. And if you've got a really heavy load, you can carry that through the forest. And that's pretty good. That's strong. Once you shoot a fish with a bow and arrow, of course you do have to follow the arrow. I'm not sure what Joe was just shot with his bow and arrow here. We're just about to find out. That's an arowana shot with a bow and arrow. Very, very cool. Shooting fish with a bow and arrow is all very well, but it does tend to to bend the spear tip sometimes. Big tapir here. Beautiful animal. Look at him go. A lot of people live in South America for years and never see a tapir in the wild. Here's one in the middle of the day. Amazing how easy these things are to catch. Took about half a minute. And there's about 25 pounds of fresh fish there for you for lunch, and several lunches thereafter. Joe lent me his machete to whack it on the head several times. An important step, apparently. Man, that's gonna be good. Brunch along the Rewa River. A massive slab of haimara, some rice, some coconut milk. I really prefer my 2.4 kilogram pack raft. When the water's lower, you do tend to see a lot more anacondas and the cats, ocelots and jaguars and those sorts of wonderful things. But when the water is really high, and it has been very high this trip, unfortunately, it does cut down on not all of the wildlife. The birds are still around, but the larger creatures that like to stroll along the riverbanks when the water levels are really low, they're just not there. Putting on the wet clothes. Again, people talk a lot about the dangers in the jungle. Probably one of the biggest ones is trees falling on your head in the middle of the night. We had a big rainstorm about 3 or 4 days into the trip, and it had everything: whipping wind and lightning flashes and booming thunder and torrential downpours. And the interesting thing was, during the night, I heard about 7 or 8 pretty big trees come crashing to the ground. And what you get is this crack sound that's really loud, and then this when it hits the ground. It's not so bad when it's half a mile away, but a couple of times it was pretty close. You sort of instinctively do like that in your hammock, but going like that's not going to help you too much if a 40-ton tree is falling on top of your pelvis. I don't think we'll take the canoe down that one. That's what we do. Go under logs and over logs and any way we can find to get through logs. They say you should never step over these sorts of logs without looking first, because you might step on a snake, and that's very true. But the other reason you shouldn't do it is because you might lose your whole entire leg down into a large burrow. This is an armadillo burrow here, a kapash hole in the Makushi language. So that's where he lives. Comes out, forages around, eats a few thousand ants, and then goes back to sleep. The old armadillo hole on the side of the log trick. As we're strolling through the forest here, Joe's just pointed out the base of this sapling. The rocket deer here in the forest have rubbed their antlers against that. And, you know, you can walk right by that sort of thing and just have no idea what it is.
Sometimes you find a broken horn.
So I spent a few nights myself curled up in these sort of little areas where the big trees in the rainforest have these buttress roots, and you can sort of climb into the little dark recesses there and hunker down and get out of the rain. But interestingly, a brocket deer, has actually taken this spot and bedded down in there several times in a row. Down in here, it's all compressed down, and that means an animal's body's been flattening that area out. Just get in here in one of these buttress roots like this. Make yourself comfortable, lean back. I've got an angle coming across the top of my head here, so no rain is going to fall directly on top of me. It works pretty well. Just check there's no bushmasters and fer-de-lance snakes hiding in there first, tropical rattlers. After pretty close to a full month, we've arrived at the very last waterfall that we have to portage around. And yeah, it's a big one, Corona Falls. So it also marks a fairly important demarcation zone, if you will, between where the large black caiman and the electric eels and the freshwater stingrays start, which is basically right down the bottom of that waterfall right there. Don't fall in the water with the camera, Kevin. Don't do it. You know, walking through some of these riverbeds, you can get a good 1.5 kilos of wet sand in each sandal. We just decided to do a little bit of night fishing on our very last night at Corona Falls, at the end of the trip here, and we hooked about a 60 or 70 pound catfish. I'm sure a great many of these things are delicacies of some sort. There you go. There's the large pile of yellow catfish blubber.
Nothing in the stomach.
That's the stomach. You don't like the stomach, Joe?
Yeah, I like the stomach.
You like the stomach. I was afraid you were going to say that. I think that that pile there will give me nightmares for weeks to come. How's that stomach lining, Joe? Is that lovely? Very nice. Enjoying that? Getting the hook out of its mouth without losing your finger is the tricky bit.
This is the insect.
Insect.
From the mouth.
Oh, look at that. That is extremely gross. This is some sort of weird and wacky creature that lives inside the mouth of the piranha. What's it called, Joe? Does it have a name?
I don't know.
It looks pretty sickening. Quite bizarre. That's the new bow. It's taken him 2 days to make it out of a chunk of a log lying on the ground. Very nice. The reason it's short is because it's for his 10-year-old niece. You see, they start him hunting pretty young in the Amerindian community. Yes, that was the piranha making that noise. I just want to clarify that for the viewers at home. Oh, look at the teeth on that baby. Not much in the way of a tail, but that is a beautiful fish. Giant otter. Beautiful. In the man-made world, there's quite a lot of wastage. In nature, there isn't. This is all that remains of a South American giant river otter's meal, probably about a week ago. Looks like an arowana fish. They're about that big, silvery thing. Quite good to eat. And once the otter gets through with it, and they're pretty thorough, they don't leave too much. They'll leave the scraps here, and the caracara birds and the vultures and all of that. The ants, the beetles will all come down and strip the bones of any remaining flesh. That's the biggest caiman I've seen in this river so far. Maybe 12 feet long. Yeah, pretty much wherever you are in South America, there's always something in the water that wants to chew on your anatomy. That's a big fella. The magnificent arowana, the superb swordfish, and the absolutely delectable peacock bass on the right. Well, I always like to clear the area underneath where I'm sleeping, because you can see the tarantulas and the centipedes and stuff a lot easier. Our ride has arrived, and I think we're seeing if the canoe will actually fit in the motorboat, so we don't have to tow it behind because it tends to swing back and forth. I know, and he's like, duh, and I'm like, no way, and he's like, for sure, and I'm like, as if, and he's like, gag me with a spoon, and I'm like, you in what army? And he's like, whatever. I'll just get it the rest of the way. No problem at all. No, I'll pick it all up on the way over. Okay. No, I don't need to write it down. I'll remember. Bread, milk, eggs, a newspaper, 12 cans of whipped cream, and an inflatable wildebeest. Okay, bye. It's getting heavy, Joe. Remote riverman. One man, one camera, something, something. Yeah, like that. No, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I got 2 men this time and 2 cameras, but don't tell anybody. No, secret. In the Makushi. I said Makushi. I have to start again. Oh yeah. Take 2. No, it's like classic dialogue. Like Mr. T. He's like standing right next to Rocky, right? And he says, "I'm gonna bust you up." And then Rocky, he's like, they're face to face, right? And Rocky says, "Go for it." You know, they don't make dialogue like that anymore, I'm telling you. Hello? Hello? This is nice. This is a pristine spot.